There is a particular kind of quiet that comes with living alone. Not the quiet of a peaceful afternoon, not the quiet of a house resting while everyone sleeps. This is a different quiet, the kind that arrives when the roles that once filled your days, wife, mother, caregiver, have shifted, when the house that used to hum with other people's noise now echoes with only yours. If you know this quiet, you are not alone in it. And you are not the first woman to have to learn how to live inside it. Throughout history, women have faced this season, often with far fewer resources than we have today. After World War II, hundreds of thousands of American women found themselves widowed. Young women, middle-aged women, older women, all suddenly navigating a life built around someone else's presence. There were no grief counselors, no online communities, no podcasts telling them how to heal in 6 steps. What they had was simpler, and in many ways more powerful. They had a routine. A widow in 1948 still woke at the same time she always had. She still made her bed. She still put the coffee on. Not because she felt like it, but because the structure of ordinary days was the rope she held onto when everything else had come undone. They had their homes. A tended home for women of that era was not about appearances. It was about dignity, about saying, my life still has order. My life still has beauty, even if only I am here to see it. They had their neighbors. In the 1940s and 1950s, women knew the names of every family on their street. They borrowed cups of sugar and returned them with a slice of pie. They checked on each other without being asked. Community wasn't something you had to seek out. It was built into the fabric of daily life. And they had purpose. Women of that generation did not wait to feel motivated before they acted. They cooked real meals. They kept gardens. They wrote letters, long, beautiful letters that arrived in someone's mailbox and said, I was thinking of you today. These were not grand gestures, but they were the things that kept women whole. Today, the loneliness is different and in some ways harder. We have more ways to connect than any generation in history, a phone in our pocket, video calls with grandchildren across the country. Social media feeds are full of other people's lives. And yet the rates of loneliness among women over 60 are higher than they have ever been. Why? Because connection through a screen, however much we are grateful for it, does not feed the same hunger that a real human presence does. We were not made for a digital community alone. We were made for the weight of someone sitting across a table from us, for the sound of another person moving through the same rooms. And when that is gone, whether through loss, through children growing up and moving away, through retirement, removing the daily rhythm of colleagues and purpose, the quiet moves in. The women of the past did not solve loneliness by finding a cure for it. They solved it by building a life so full of small, meaningful things that the loneliness had less room to take up. That is what we can learn from them. Let's be specific, because I think the practical matters as much as the philosophical. They kept a morning ritual. Not a routine for productivity, a ritual for themselves. Coffee at the same time, the same chair, a few quiet minutes before the day began. That small anchor, the same every morning, gave the day a beginning, which meant it also had a shape. They cooked for themselves, as if they mattered. A woman alone in 1950 did not eat crackers over the sink for dinner. She set the table. She made a proper meal, not because anyone was watching, but because she was. The act of cooking and sitting down to eat, even alone, was a daily statement. I am worth the effort. They wrote letters, not emails. Letters. They sat down with paper and pen and wrote to sisters, to friends, to children, to anyone they had been thinking about. The act of writing is itself a form of connection. It requires you to turn your thoughts outward toward another person, which is a gentle medicine for loneliness. They stayed useful. Women of that era volunteered at their churches, helped neighbors with children, taught younger women how to sew or can or cook. Usefulness is not the same as being needed, but it carries some of the same warmth. It says, I have something to give. They went outside every single day. Whether it was the garden or the front porch or a walk around the block, they did not stay inside with the curtains drawn. The outside world, even just a few minutes of it, was medicine they didn't have a name for. We can do all of those things, and we can add to them. Anchor your mornings. Before you look at your phone, before the news, before anything, give yourself 10 quiet minutes that belong only to you. Tea, a window, your own thoughts. This is not indulgence, this is sanity. Cook one real meal a day for yourself. Set the table. Use the good dishes. You do not need a reason beyond being here, and you deserve a beautiful table. Write one letter or note a week, not a text, a real note, even a short one, mailed or hand-delivered. You will be surprised by what it does, both for the person who receives it and for you in the writing of it. Find your version of usefulness. It doesn't have to be grand. Teach something you know to someone younger. Volunteer somewhere that needs your particular kind of wisdom. Bring a meal to someone who is struggling. The women of the past understood that giving is one of the most effective antidotes to feeling invisible. Create a weekly reason to leave the house. A class, a library visit, a garden club, a church group, a farmer's market, something that puts you in the same room as other people on a regular basis, not occasionally, but weekly. Consistency is what builds community. Start something you've always wanted to do. This is the one the women of the past were often denied, and it is the one that is entirely yours now. A class, an art project, a journal, a new skill, a garden you design entirely to your own taste. The next chapter is yours to write, and it doesn't need anyone's permission. Living alone gracefully is not about pretending the quiet doesn't ache sometimes. It's about building a life within the quiet that has enough beauty, enough purpose, and enough small daily joys that you can sit inside it and feel, if not full, at least at peace. The women who came before us did it with far less than we have. We can do it too. Living alone doesn't mean living without direction. Sometimes it's the perfect season to finally ask yourself what you actually want from here on out. If today's video spoke to you, I'd love for you to meet the Next Chapter Planner. It's a keepsake workbook made for this season of life, a place to reflect, dream, and put your thoughts down on paper at your own pace. You can find it at the link right in the description below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'll see you in the next one.